The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello there, and welcome back to the Diversity Dude podcast. I'm your host, Lambert Fisher, marriage and family therapist, award-winning author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. And for those of you who are interested in even more positive and encouraging tips and strategies beyond what I share in podcasts like this, then feel free to check out my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, nationally recognized for the unique way in which it addresses the often difficult topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. Designed for more than just therapists, if you're a helping professional in any way, Diversity in Clinical Practice can help you meet the greatest variety of cultural needs possible for those whom you serve. And it's available in paper and audiobook versions for your convenience. And whether it be through my one-on-one relationship building efforts as a therapist or my informing and empowering efforts as an author speaker, know that my personal mission is to do my part to improve the world one strengthened relationship at a time. So, today I want to share with you an encouraging and practical perspective on the inspiration of Juneteenth for all cultures. If you're not yet familiar and it's not yet a regular addition to your personal professional calendar, June 19th, again, is Juneteenth, which became a federal holiday in 2021 and commemorates the ending of slavery in America. Although not exactly the same, many people consider it to be similar to the 4th of July, in that both holidays honor the independence of one's ancestors, as well as the opportunities significant events like that of the past can have for us today. Juneteenth honors the end of slavery and the beginning of true freedom for African Americans in this country, as it both commemorates a singular moment in time, while also the beginning of an opportunity to reflect on the collective strength and resilience and determination of a cultural group. A brief summary of the history that led to the holiday is that the Emancipation Proclamation, issued in January 1st, 1863, made slavery illegal in the Confederate States, but was practically meaningless because the South did not need to acknowledge the legitimacy of any laws of the North, whom they were looking to beat. That was until 2 years later, until when the Civil War happened between the North and the South, ended in April 1865. However, despite the fact that the war ended, making slavery illegal everywhere and essentially freeing those who were enslaved, the Southern states used their continued power to keep the news a secret and away from enslaved Black and African American people, still believing that they were legally enslaved. This remained the case until the Union Army, who had been slowly but steadily traveling through the Southern states, spreading the news of the end of slavery and its implications across the South, one city at a time, finally reaching the 250,000 enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, the southeasternmost part of the country 2 months later, on June 19, 1865, making June 19th the last day that slavery in that form existed in this country, hence the holiday Juneteenth. This is also why, despite the fact that it sounds like a newly made up holiday for many people, the anniversary of the ending of slavery has been celebrated annually by many since the very beginning, especially, though not limited to, certain communities in southern states. For those who lived in one of the northernmost southern states, received the news earlier and thus celebrated the anniversary months earlier, with several dates in between, consistent with how slow news traveled at the time. It wasn't until 2021, more recently, when a singular date, the last date, was chosen and made a federal holiday for everyone to acknowledge. Not because everyone in the country relates to that specific experience the same, but because of its contribution and significance in the development and progression of the country that we know today. Now, with that very brief summary of the origin story and history of the holiday of Juneteenth, I shared in a previous Juneteenth-inspired podcast a few considerations regarding why you should care at all, whether or not you personally, culturally identify with those who received their freedom from slavery at that time, and of course afterwards. I would definitely recommend going back and listening to that podcast if you're struggling with caring at all, reasonably so. Building off that, though, I can also acknowledge that while some have benefited from a healthy perspective on why they should care at all, many others do care in general, but struggle with the idea that the holiday itself feels depressing or feels as though it generates negative feelings. For example, when some have expressed that thinking of Juneteenth reminds me that there was a time when people like them were deceived and mistreated, even longer than was legally supported, it makes them feel even more resentful. Not just historically resentful on behalf of the actions of those who mistreated their ancestors, but also distrustful for those who might be mistreating or deceiving them today. Similarly, many who identify with having ancestors who have been slave owners or were complicit in perpetuating slavery have expressed fear that celebrating Juneteenth creates yet another reminder of the mistreatment caused by their ancestors, which they have been trying to distance themselves from in their own way. In addition, they may fear that these reminders may make their friends, their neighbors, their colleagues more cautious and more distrustful of them, putting undesired strain on otherwise healthy personal and professional relationships. And to those on either side of this Juneteenth perception dilemma, I like to offer a healthier perspective, one that has the potential to be less depressing, discouraging, or negative, and instead focus on the inspirational aspects of the June 19th holiday. Here's a consideration. For one, Juneteenth celebrates the accomplishments of those in the Black community. Similar to the celebration of Black History Month, Juneteenth can be a time to remember Black history is not limited to just a few hundred years of slavery, forcing everyone to remember the torture and trauma that ensued during that time. Instead, it's an opportunity to be reminded that there is so much yet to be learned about the accomplishments, large and small, of the Black community long before slavery and in the many years since slavery ended. With such a wider historical view, Juneteenth can highlight how those few hundred years of slavery were tragic, but not in such a way that it has become the only historical identity of the Black community. This is why you might hear people prefer to speak of enslaved people rather than slaves. Not as an exercise in semantics, but to highlight that slavery was not the core of their identity and who they were. You see, what is also true is that Juneteenth has represented the beginning of a reclaiming and reestablishing of a cultural identity. And so much has been done to fight for the right to reestablish that cultural identity and contribute to society in ways that generate respect and acknowledgement of the value and worth one has within themselves, one's family, and community at large. There are so many known and unknown individuals and organizations that have sacrificed all they had so that we can have what we have today. And while many acknowledge that much growth still needs to be made in this regard, Juneteenth can be a time to celebrate the beginning of a new opportunity to do so, and an appreciation of the opportunities we have today and each day to make such growth a reality. A second consideration is this: Juneteenth celebrates the resilience of those who fought to end slavery. Speaking of sacrifices, another inspirational aspect of Juneteenth is that it is a reminder that slavery didn't just end on its own. Slavery didn't run its natural course to the point where the masses said, well, we got all the labor help that we needed to get this country to where we wanted it to be. We can take it from here. Thanks for the help. You're all free to go and make something of yourselves like we did. No. The end of slavery was the result of sacrifices of so many who worked hard, toiled, sacrificed, advocated, and did everything within their power as individuals and groups of individuals to change the lives of so many others in a great way. This work was not easy. It did not always look promising, but they not only maintained hope, but they also maintained a determination based on the value and worth of everyone in the face of value and worth only being portrayed and given to some. This determination can be inspirational because it is a reminder that we as individuals have a similar opportunity to follow in their footsteps and identify areas of our lives where some are being mistreated, near to us where we can see and have a direct impact, or far away where we may not be directly impactful, but also have a sense of justice and rightness such that we can indirectly support those who are making more of a direct impact and on improving the lives of others. You don't have to look like or act like someone else to positively impact someone's life. Let Juneteenth be a reminder to be inspired by those who advocated for the freedom of those who were enslaved and to find ways to advocate for those around us as well. And finally, a third consideration is this: The inspiration of Juneteenth need not be limited to the Black community. No matter what cultural background you may identify with, everyone can acknowledge not only that the institution of slavery in this country was horrible, and it made immeasurably devastating impact and effects on everyone involved for generations to come, but that its end opened up new possibilities for everyone as well. How? Well, everyone treats everyone with value in the sense that worth and respect can be contributing to a world where we can all benefit from healthy cross-cultural perspectives, experiences, and accomplishments. That's a reasonable goal to strive for. When certain cultural groups are hindered in their ability to be their best selves, not only do they pay a price, but so does everyone else who loses out on the diversity of insights, perspectives, and contributions that they have the potential to share. With this in mind, everyone from every culture has an opportunity to look at Juneteenth as a holiday, as an opportunity to be grateful, not only for the resilience of those who sacrificially endured the traumatic experience of slavery and passed on that resilience to generations afterwards, not only for those who gave of themselves despite all odds to fight an unjust system in hopes of a world of shared value and worth, but also for the opportunities we now have to experience the best everyone has to offer, not just the best some have to offer. My hope for you is that at least on Juneteenth and during the month of June, ideally beyond, that you will be able to see past the reminder of the bad, which is definitely there, and there's more to explore from that, of course, but also to allow yourself to be inspired by those who contributed to the end of that horrible experience and creating an opportunity for new experiences, new life lessons, new society impacting accomplishments, and much, much more for you, for those in your community, and for the world at large. And with that, I'll say thanks again for listening in to today's Diversity Do podcast. If you have any pressing diversity-related questions that you'd like me to address in an upcoming podcast, or if your organization is in need of a shame-free and empowering guest speaker or training on this often sensitive topic, then feel free to reach out to me directly at www.diversitymadesimple.com. And if you know of anyone else who can benefit from a positive and encouraging perspective on this often difficult topic of diversity, feel free to send them a link to this podcast so they can be encouraged as well. Or share with them my award-winning book, Diversity in Clinical Practice, available at Amazon.com. And as usual, I look forward to addressing as many topics as possible in future podcasts to help you improve as many relationships as possible at work, at home, and in your community. And as always, remember this: you don't need to know everything about everyone in order to have a positive impact on someone. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great day.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
Meet TAP, the Transit Assistance Program. TAP makes transit more affordable for people with lower incomes, with rides for just $1. To apply, it's easy. First, type go to metrotransit.org/tap to fill in your info. Then snap. Take a quick pic of your ID and one other accepted document, like an EBT card. Then tap, submit your application, and after getting approved, you'll get your TAP Go-To card mailed to you in about a week. Finally, load money on your card, then hop on any bus or light rail train to get where you're going for less. Apply in a few minutes and start saving money today. Learn more at metrotransit.org/tap.
It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes, and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Sheletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
In this job, I challenge myself and grow.
At Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota, Kelly makes a difference.
We see people, not disabilities. I'm here for them.
Lutheran Social Service is now hiring direct support professionals to work in our homes and empower people in our community. The work is rewarding, and so are the benefits. Full-time direct support professionals receive medical, dental, and vision plans, matched retirement savings, paid time off, and more.
LSS is a great organization. They recognize my talents and my desire to grow.
Kelly has advanced to a job as a training specialist, working with new employees to prepare them to support people with disabilities.
We're neighbors helping neighbors. So do work that matters. Grow with us.
Find your meaningful career at Lutheran Social Service, named a top workplace by employees. Learn more at lssmn.org/immediate openings. Ask about the hiring bonus. You might be eligible for up to $2,000.
Are you a woman known as a good listener? Do you have skills in de-escalating situations? Are you what they call a people person? Then the Minneapolis Police Department would like to meet you. Now in a rebuilding phase, the Minneapolis Police Department is recruiting more women to wear the badge. The department offers career options for women with a high school diploma or GED. There are also opportunities for women with 2- and 4-year degrees who are ready to apply their skills in new ways. Police work makes a great second career for social workers, teachers, nurses. Women in their 30s and 40s are welcome to apply. There's no age cap. You'll be paid while you train and mentored by veteran women officers invested in your success. Minneapolis also welcomes current police officers to join the state's largest department. Make a difference on the streets, working in your community, in a career with competitive salaries and generous benefits. Go to minneapolismn.gov and search police jobs to find out more.
Ready to roll up your sleeve and get your COVID-19 vaccine? You may be able to do it close to your home or neighborhood. All over the state, you can find COVID-19 vaccination events that are being held right in local communities with organizations that you may know and trust. The Minnesota Department of Health works in partnership with communities to provide safe and free on-site COVID-19 vaccines at familiar places like clinics, community, and senior centers in churches and other places of worship. Do you want to find out if there is a community vaccination near you and your family? Then there's a number to call. You can reach the Minnesota Department of Public Health hotline at 1-833-431-2053. Call that number from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Tuesday and Thursday. That number again is 1-833-431-2053.
If you live in an older home, it may contain lead-based paint on walls, woodwork, and windows. Even more bad news, lead exposure can be dangerous to young children and impact their brain development. And now, the good news. Hennepin County will fix lead hazards in your home at no cost to you.
We were worried because of the paint in the windows in the bedroom. They were peeling and chipping, and we know that when paint peels and chips and it looks a certain way, that's possibly lead. We were worried for our children more so than anything.
Eligible homes can qualify for up to $15,000 in upgrades. You may even qualify for new energy-efficient windows. Don't worry, Hennepin County has a trusted list of pre-approved contractors. You won't even have to find companies with correct licenses or certifications.
I've just done a test and it's positive. So we know that this is lead-based paint, and then we know it's a hazard because it's creating dust every time this window moves and opens. And if you look in here, that's just full of lead paint chips.
You won't have to stay with your cousin while you're getting the lead out. Hennepin County even pays for you and your family to stay in a hotel while the work is underway. The last good news is how easy it is to apply. Just go to hennepin.us/lead control to get started.
I'm really happy with the program. We can go to bed knowing that our children are safe.
That's hennepin.us/lead control. Tell your friends about it.